There's currently no bidding war going on for Kevin Durant right now, meaning the Raptors have a lot of leverage in a potential KD trade. So I'm going to break down all the latest developments on that front. The Toronto Raptors also made a massive hire today to their coaching staff, bringing in Rico Hynes, who's one of the best at player development and has a lot of relationships across the league. So good for recruitment, good for a lot of things for the Toronto Raptors. Additionally, newest free agent Otto Porter Jr. spoke out on the team and his expectations to make the NBA Finals this season. And finally, former Toronto Raptor Bruno Caboclo has been turning heads in the Summer League, given solid production as well as a lot of strength put on. So I'm going to break down all the latest Toronto Raptors news. Without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Malgers here, the Raptors Dive, just breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And that's right, folks, we're on that quest for Kevin Durant, we're on that quest for KD, and the news continues to come out as Masai Ujiri is trying to finesse his way into a deal with Kevin Durant, with obviously out giving up Scotty Barnes or any crazy assets, crazy loads of an asset going back to the Brooklyn Nets. But the latest update is coming from Brian Windhorst, saying that the Raptors are not in a bidding war for Kevin Durant. That was his main summary. Came out on ESPN and broke down a lot of interesting developments on in terms of the negotiations going on right now. And the first thing, as said, right, the Brooklyn Nets, when KD got put up onto the market, they were expecting team after team to go fighting with each other, trying to acquire this obviously generational superstar piece that could put a lot of good teams over the edge to win a championship. However, this has not been the case. And the Nets were expecting something astronomical getting offered their way. They were asking from the Minnesota Timberwolves not only just Karl-Anthony Towns, not only just Anthony Edwards. They wanted Towns, Edwards, and multiple first-round draft picks. Like, if that's their starting asking price, they're just looking loopy in these negotiations, because trying to trade a disgruntled 34-year-old star, yes, he's going to be great on whatever team he shows up on and stuff, but that's dealt with a lot of injuries. You're not getting two all-star caliber young players and back with a bunch of picks in return. Sorry, Brooklyn, it's just not going to happen. And that's the level of offer they thought they were going to receive in terms of teams fighting to get Kevin Durant, talking themselves into sending big packages, but hasn't been the case. Obviously, the Toronto Raptors and the Phoenix Suns are currently the two biggest suitors for a potential Kevin Durant trade, but Brian Windhorst has essentially said in his report today and yesterday that Toronto Raptors and Suns don't feel like they have to up the offer. They're content with their current deals, and it's not really a bidding war, right? Everyone's watched, what was that show's name back in the day? Storage Wars, right? When you're trying to, you're bidding for something, there's stuff going on, you constantly raise the price to outbid the person next to you, right? The Raptors are not pulling no Dave Hester in this trade negotiation. They say, we know we can outbid the rest of the market. No one's trying to outbid us. Everyone's perfectly content with their offers right now. They're not going to go overpriced. And this is what stagnated the Brooklyn Nets' willingness to make a trade, right? That's why they're sort of going to the media right now, pushing out a bunch of things, saying, oh, we might keep him, even though there's 0% chance he's going to be a Brooklyn Net next season. That's my take. But, they're trying to go to the media, make these negotiations and say, hey, KD, off the table if you don't meet this threshold and all that sort of stuff. And we have guys like Zach Lowe. Windhorst said specifically, the Raptors don't have to meet this astronomical ask from the Brooklyn Nets. They just have to outbid the only other team really making serious offers right now, and that's the Phoenix Suns. They can offer put out a better offer than the Phoenix Suns out there on the market. They'll likely acquire Kevin Durant. I see no world where he's staying in the Brooklyn Nets, or at least playing for the Brooklyn Nets next season, just given how everything's played out. So that's sort of the latest developments. There's rumblings here, there, and left, right, and center. We'll keep it covered as, it's a pretty big story for Toronto Raptors, but we got something tangible. We got something guaranteed coming to us right now, and that's Rico Hynes being hired by the Toronto Raptors. Now, if you're not familiar with Rico Hynes, you might be familiar with some of his clips, because he hosts all these like I wanted to call him pro-am, but it's mostly just pros, scrims throughout the summer, works on developing young players, older players, right, working on adding new things to the bag. There's relationships with Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, a bunch of current and former Toronto Raptors. There's videos of Kevin Durant potentially a future Toronto Raptor, going to Rico Hynes runs, right? He's out there connected throughout the league. And currently, right, the newest news that's coming out, if you creep his Instagram page, Blake Murphy sort of summed it all up on this in this tweet. It's not officially confirmed by any means just yet, but Rico Hynes is saying goodbye to the Kings on his Instagram. Earl Watson, Raptors assistant coach, has welcomed him to Toronto, and Rico Hynes has posted a picture of the Toronto Raptors shirt on his Instagram, so it's looking like he has been hired on the team. Rico Hynes was initially with the Sacramento Kings doing player development there. It looks like the Raptors poached him away, which is a huge W for our squad. Right, and the first thing people have talked about is just his relationships with players across the league. Obviously, that's will help him free agent acquisitions, will help bring players in and all that sort of stuff. But you're not just getting this guy for his relationships. He is a pure basketball mind. He knows everything that's going on, especially when it comes to player development. And I believe Pascal Siakam said in his most improved player acceptance speech, he name called Rico Hynes as a guy that really helped him take his game to the next level, and now we have this guy in-house. And with young players like Delano Banton, Justin Champagnie, Scotty Barnes, still a young guy on this team, right? Even our sort of mid-veterans, right? Gary's still young, OG's still young, but Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, just having a guy day in, day out, working on your game, doing those special drills, special skilled work, getting the feedback constantly, not just during the summers, right? Having that 12 months of the year in-house in your organization, that is huge. So the Toronto Raptors continue to get W's this offseason, and if they ended off with trading for Kevin Durant without having to give up Scotty Barnes or Pascal Siakam, man, that's Masai Ujiri's out here making W plays. So shout out, we'll call it the Spicy Pele. One of the spicy Piles of the offseason, at least a spicy Pile of the day. It's Toronto Raptors signing Rico Hynes to whatever. I don't know if they're specifically called assistant coaches or player development, whatever his title will be. He's definitely going to have a big impact on the Raptors organization. So massive W there. Next thing we're talking about is Otto Porter Jr. Speaking on the Raptors, making the finals. Right, Otto Porter Jr. obviously just coming off a championship with the Golden State Warriors. He's ready to win some games. He's ready to come in, have an impact, and get some W's for this Raptors squad. And he had his introductory press conference yesterday, talked about how the Raptors were the organization he wanted to be with. He had a lot of offers out there on the open market, and Toronto was the place he wanted to be. As mentioned in our previous video, his wife is from Toronto, so that influenced him a little bit. But really, it was the organization, the structure, his experience playing against the Toronto Raptors that really encouraged him to come to this team, and he ended up selecting the Toronto Raptors as a free agent destination. But then he went on to say some stuff which has me pretty excited. Right, he talked about how playing against a lineup of all 6'7", 7-footers, that's hard to play against, and I think this team is definitely ready to get back to the finals. That's right, made it to the finals a few years ago now, back in 2019. But we went through a little retooling as Masai Ujiri. It wasn't a rebuild. It wasn't a teardown. It wasn't some explosion of the roster, right? But we retooled our roster. And regardless if we get Kevin Durant or not, regardless if we get DeAndre Ayton or not, I see the Toronto Raptors having a big season next year. I think we're going to be a top 3 seed without a doubt. I said top 4 seed last season. Top 3 without a doubt this season. I was one off last year, but I will not be one off this season. I see the Raptors make a deep push. And yes, Tatum has emerged for the Boston Celtics, even though he struggled in the finals. The Bucks are still a team to be reckoned with in the Eastern Conference, especially when they have Middleton back. I think the Sixers will be good. People are trashing on Harden. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. The Eastern Conference is definitely loaded. It's loaded, especially with those top teams. Miami Heat, the Atlanta Hawks with DeJounte Murray are going to be better. Right? There's a lot of good teams in the Eastern Conference. I'm confident the Raptors can make the finals, and I see us potentially having a bit of a slower start, and then next season, and then as the season goes along, just really putting things together as we always do, and getting some W's and getting some playoff W's. We're knocking out those top teams next season. So I love Otto Porter Jr.'s mindset. But the final thing we're talking about, the final thing we're discussing is Bruno Caboclo looking huge in Summer League. Now, if you guys haven't, obviously the Brazilian KD, right? The KD's all in the news. The Brazilian KD, he's making some headlines, turning some heads out there in Summer League, and he's had a solid performance. Duncan looked really aggressive in terms of dunking, knocking down some jump shots, missed a few free throws, but his game's looking a little bit more polished. His defense is still a little bit... He gets lost at times, even though the defensive fundamentals, just physically, Bruno Caboclo can have an impact on that front, but gets lost a bit on the help defense. I watched a few of the highlights of his clip with the Utah Jazz. But other than that, this guy is looking like a true NBA player. He put on a bunch of weight. He put on good weight. He is looking huge out there. I got a couple of pictures. This is Bruno Caboclo dunking the basketball right now. He's driving the lanes, finishing above the rim, being aggressive, not being, big criticism of Bruno Caboclo's. He wouldn't use that 7'7" wingspan, 6'9" height. He'd just be chilling on the three-point line, hoisting up threes. From what I saw that Utah Jazz game, he was not doing that there. He was attacking the rim with force. The handle isn't the tightest thing by any means, but being aggressive, which I like to see from Bruno. And I'd like to know the actual amount, not the super chat, but I'd like to know the actual amount of weight he put on, because this does not look like our Bruno. This looks like a guy that could dominate some folks. Maybe, and people are saying bring him home, bring him back. Maybe that was the signing. Maybe... Obviously, Rico Hynes, we're bringing him in for player development, or he has the history of extreme player development, right? Bring back Bruno and give him to Rico Hynes for a season, and then watch him win a Finals MVP the year after. Who needs KD when you can get the Brazilian KD? That's my take. Right? We're on the quest for the Brazilian KD, not the regular KD. But you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys think we're going to end up acquiring Kevin Durant? Love hearing from you guys always. I forgot to plug it. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. All that cool stuff. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.